Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, 14-year-old computers are not legal. Locked in the server room, MacGyver time. No dad, a caller ID app isn't going to pull your bank account numbers. Wait, you're doing what? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. 14-year-old computers are not legal. One of my former personal clients was a set of nursing homes in my local area. I first went to them when I worked in Hell, but they thought the $85 per hour rate for on-site service was too high and never called back. 3 years after I left Hell, I was helping a guy program DVRs for camera systems to let people log into their DDNS and view them from their phones. I ended up going back to this place and the owner recognized me. Owner: Hey, you do computers, right? Me: Yes, I do. Owner: How much do you charge? We need an IT guy, but not on a full-time basis. Me: $50 an hour, plus the cost of any parts one need to order. When I went out originally, they were running old Dell Dimension 2400s. This was in 2009. Floppy drive, P4, a blazing 256 megabytes RAM. When they bought them in, I presume, 2000, they were probably very good machines. When I came back to this place in 2012, they were beyond obsolete. My first job with them was to go through each PC at both of their local facilities and clean them up. I always make sure to quote by the hour instead of job for things like this. They asked how long it would take, and I honestly told them it was up to their PCs. Each building had roughly 30 of these things, at most it was 3 to an office, but more often just 1. It took me around 40 hours to do them all. I had quite a hefty number on the invoice when I handed it in. The woman in charge called me an hour later wanting to dispute the charges. Owner: Hey Serum 86, I just got your invoice and this is way too high. You said $50. Me: I said $50 an hour. It took me nearly the entire week to do all of your computers. Owner: Why would it take so long? We only have a handful of computers. Me: You have 2 buildings worth of computers. And they're all old and slow. I did it as fast as I could. A cleanup on a newer machine only takes about 40 minutes. I was taking me a couple of hours on some of your computers. And I was working on several at once where I could to keep the time down. Owner: I know they're slow. That's why I asked you to clean them up. Me: I did. They're going better, but if you're expecting them to run like new, then you need new computers. Owner: Let me call my managers to verify the time you were there. I've been cheated before, and I don't trust these numbers. Sadly for her, I had thorough record keeping of my start time and end time at each facility, as well as having said times signed off by the head nurse at each. I also had one of the nurses who was sick of her slow PC verify that I spent the entire time in her office working on both PCs at once, and never took a break while I was there, and it still took me nearly 2 hours. So I got a nice check out of it. I also sent an email to the owner informing her of the status of her machines, and let her know what she'd be looking at to replace them with newer machines. She was still on XP. Basically told her the computers were going to be going out soon, and replacement would be better on her budget than repairing them. Then offered her $100 discount per computer if she did 3 or more at a time. She sent me an email back that her computers were still new, and that I just needed to make them faster instead of trying to scam her. I did sell her a memory upgrade on one, from 256 to 2 gigabytes. The memory in it went bad and 2 gigabytes was all I could get in that older format. After that nurse began complimenting the new speed, the owner took the computer for herself. I would occasionally get a call after that about a PC being slow or locking up. Typically the drive was dying if not outright dead. So I was making decent money replacing HDDs in these things, and the whole time I was telling her that she needed to upgrade her computers. My last job with them was March of 2014. One of the nurses got CryptoLocker and the entire machine was needing a reimage. I took the machine to my shop, checked it out, and made the call. Hey, this thing is going to need to be redone. The virus on here is a pretty nasty piece of work. It basically scrambles up all of the data, and they want you to pay a lot of money to unscramble it. It also had another bug that took out some system files. I'm going to have to wipe it and reinstall Windows on it. You're looking at $100 for the reload and setting it back up. Owner: no. You did this. We've never had this issue before, it's something you did. No, your nurse did it. She admitted to me she opened an email from a Russian email address and opened the Word document inside. Sorry, but this is on her, not me. Do you want it fixed or not? Owner: yes, I want it fixed, but I'm not paying $100 for it. You might want to reconsider that part. Or we might need to reconsider our IT setup. Yeah, no. Price is firm. Firmer now, actually. You can either pay me, or I can drop it off and charge you the diagnostic fee for 1 hour. Your choice. And for the record, this is a software fix. I ran a test on the hardware and it passed, but I've been telling you for a year or more now that these things are dying. So there's no warranty on the parts inside of it. Owner: fine. Fix it. But don't expect us to call you again. So I reinstalled XP, loaded the Citrix software they used. Epic, you are a nightmare upon my soul, and a blot upon the IT world. Set it back up in the office, and installed the printer, and dropped off my invoice. 2 months later I got a call that the computer wasn't booting. I called the nurse who ran it. Unmountable boot volume BSOD was popping up. I drove by, ran a HDD stress test, and it failed immediately. Hey, this thing's hard drive is shot. You're going to need another one in there to have it back up and running. Or I could just replace the whole computer. Owner: it's always something with you. We didn't have these problems before you began working for us. I went 3 years without anyone having to come look at our computers. You're breaking them on purpose to get more money, and I'm not letting you do it anymore. I'm calling the police. That was pretty hilarious. I just pulled out my laptop and showed all of the invoices I'd made for them, as well as photocopies of the checks, and the emails I'd been sending her informing her of the computers being on their last leg. One of the cops even looked at the computer and said these things. They still work? *T man. They let me go and told her if she wanted to file a claim in court then she needed to go about it properly, and they couldn't do anything. So I dropped off an invoice for the diagnostic, got told it wouldn't get paid, and chalked that one up as a loss. I was willing to let it go, until she began calling me after hours to harass me about each computer slowly beginning to die. Keep in mind, this was May 2014 at this point. April 2014, XP was no longer being supported and as such was not secure and violated HIPAA in a major way. Someone began reporting the nursing home for unsafe IT environments within the HIPAA regulations. I spoke with one of the nurses a few days ago, and she mentioned how not long after I stopped coming by, the company was fined $100,000 over multiple HIPAA violations. Apparently, it was more than just Windows XP going on there. Locked in the server room, MacGyver time. It was about 10 p.m. The entire building had long since gone home, but I'd stuck around to do some after-hours maintenance on a few routers in the public Colorado room, where our customers housed all their equipment. When you've been working for 13 hours straight, your brain stops working the way it normally would and tends to get a narrow focus. One thing that's vital for any tech is the 3-pocket tap. Back, right, left wallet, keys, phone. No matter where you are, you can probably work something out as long as you have them. As I heard the office to DC door click closed, I immediately realized I'd been so caught up debugging I'd forgotten to 3-point. Please, let them be there. For the love of God, let them be there. They were not there. The awareness of my situation came slowly. No wallet means no access card. Okay, I'll call someone. No phone. Okay, well, I guess I can always just abandon the work and go home. Wait, no wallet means no bus. I guess I could always walk, I mean it's far, but. No keys. It was a rare winter's day that the heavily stocked data center was cold, but was it cold that night, and I had no jacket. The trio of AC units hummed merrily, pumping 10-degree air into the room. Sleeping on the floor of the data center was not an option, although it would become one later. That's a story for another time. Wow. I was really stuck. I could use egress buttons to get further /out/ of the facility and gamble on being able to break back in somewhere else, but I would only end up stuck further away from the things I so desperately wished I'd remembered. Alright Chopsky, you can do this. You just have to figure something out. This is what we trained for. I checked everything. Jimmying the door and lock didn't work. The lock was a strike, so I couldn't cut power to it either. I tried every technique I could think of to bypass the security. After half an hour, I was starting to wonder whether maybe sleeping on the floor was the best plan after all, and just living with pneumonia. Like a bolt of lightning, genius struck. In one particular rack, there was an old Cisco 2511. For those lucky enough to have missed these things, a 2511 is an ancient serial router, commonly used for out-of-band management. Stick a dial-up modem on one end, and then 16 serial ports out to routers/switches/servers/whatever. I had a phone line. And I'd been testing ports to identify phone numbers earlier in the week, and by random chance, I'd left the crappy old telecom phone in the rack. I was saved. Snapping in the RJ11 socket with a relieved grin, I dialed the only number I knew, my home number. My girlfriend at the time, who I'll call Pants, picked up, her sweet voice echoing through the crackling line like an innocent cherub. Pants, hello? Chopsky, oh my god, Pants, I'm so happy, I need why. Pants. Hello? Chopsky, what? Hello? Pants? Can you hear me? Pants, covering the receiver, yeah, I don't know who it is. There's some crackling but no one's talking. Chopsky, you have got to be kidding me. Pants, guess it's a bad line, or a fax machine or something. She hung up. I immediately called back. Chopsky, hello? Pants? Hello? Pants, it's doing the thing again. I don't know, I think someone's there. Chopsky, hello, I am here. ITS Chopsky, please, I am stuck. The receiver clicking down was the most gut-wrenching sound of disappointment I'd ever heard. I realized I'd never actually used this phone to talk, only ever to dial numbers and hit modems. Something in it was busted, so no one was ever going to hear me through it. I tried to get it open to fix it, but without tools, which were also on the other side of the door, it wasn't going anywhere. At this point, ethics kind of went out the window. The one solitary thing I had in my possession was a 268 key. For those not in the know, the 268 key is a magical key that most racks ship with by default. Armed with a tiny piece of metal, I was going to go through every customer's rack until I found something that could help me. I opened every single rack in the room. Nothing. No tools, no tape, no zip ties, nothing. I slumped against the back wall of the back row, defeated. That's when I saw it. The most beautiful sight in the world. A brand new touch-tone analog phone, hidden under a waterfall of console cables behind a customer's 2511. I shouted in joy, to no one in particular, thanked the gods that someone else had been doing the same work that I had, and hastily stole the hell out of it. When I finally got through to Pants, I was able to talk her through logging onto my computer, connecting to my work VPN, RDPING into the security system, and the incredibly long and drawn-out process of navigating the ancient, awful security software to manually override the lock's default state to open. When that relay clicked, it was like the hills were alive with the sound of metal on metal. I dropped the phone and busted through the door, shivering and ecstatic both at once. I had won. I had beaten the impossible situation. I had opened a door. Wrapping myself in a jacket, I stood behind the air conditioner heat vents in the plant room for 5 minutes, then zip-tied my wallet to my belt, and got back to work. These routers weren't going to upgrade themselves. No, Dad, a caller ID app isn't going to pull your bank account numbers. Wait, you're doing what? This is a personal tale, involving myself and both of my parents. A little long, but please bear with me. Background info. So my mom tells me that last week, she gets a call from an old area code, and as usual, picks up without thinking. Some dude with a really deep voice asks for Shantae, definitely not my mom's name. My mom tells him wrong number. You would think that would be the end of it. Oh no. She gets several more calls from said number, at all hours of the night. She goes to $red checkmark provider to see if she can block the number on her phone. I would love to know who she spoke to, because they gave her 2 options: get charged every month to have that specific number blocked, or send the caller straight to voicemail. My mom proceeds to get voicemails constantly from whoever this person is, which is when she tells me about her issue. I immediately tell her about an app called Mr. Number, which basically provides caller ID and call blocking via crowdsourced lists of spam/fraud callers, as well as any number/area code you manually enter. It's a pretty sweet app. I've been using it for several years myself. She loves the idea, and says she'll get my dad to install it also on his phone. Now to the good part. Next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call from my dad. Dad, I installed that app and immediately uninstalled it. Me, okay, why? Dad, I don't want it to have access to my bank account information. Okay, I think, he seems to think that giving an app access to his phone numbers give it access to his browser's autofill or document storage or something. I proceeded to explain to him how app privileges work. Dad, no, you don't understand, I keep all of that stuff in my contacts, so I can get to it easily. My brain clicks in horror. Me, not a good idea. You need to have that kind of information in a password-protected file, if you keep a copy of it on your phone at all. Dad, but I've been doing it this way for 12 years. Do I need to get all of the other sensitive information removed from my address book as well? Me, 12 years ago you were on a Nokia, not a smartphone. What other stuff? My father, bless his heart, had every single active credit card number with expiration and security code stored in his contacts, as well as his, my mom's, my and my 2 brothers' social security numbers, stored in plain text under each of our contact entries. I told him delete or migrate all of it to a password-protected file/app like LastPass immediately. Don't even ask me to explain why this is a bad idea, but it doesn't matter if he uses that app or not. Don't ever do that again. I think he understood the implications though, because next he says, Dad, I guess we need to do the same with your mother, she has all that stuff in her address book also. Me, facepalm, yes, Dad, definitely.